Yes, I love it. Can we get dessert?
Of course, sweetie.
Sounds perfect.
The restaurant went quiet when the billionaire stood up. She wasn't angry. She wasn't shouting. But every eye followed her as she walked away from her private table, leaving behind a half-finished meal and a confused 7-year-old boy. Across the room sat a single dad and his daughter. Their table had only one entree, 2 plates, and a candle that had burned almost to the bottom. No one expected what she would do next. Not the guests. Not the staff. Not even her own son. But by the end of that night, a struggling father would regain something he thought he had permanently lost. And a billionaire would finally teach her child the one lesson money can never buy. Isabella Lauren built her empire from nothing. Or at least, that was the story magazines loved to print. They praised her grit, her strategy, her billion-dollar technology acquisitions, her sharp negotiations and fearless investments. But they never wrote about the nights she cried alone after her husband died in a car accident 3 years earlier. They never mentioned how she sometimes felt completely unqualified to raise her son without him. That evening, Isabella decided to take her 7-year-old son, Lucas, to the most exclusive restaurant in the city. Not for business. Not for publicity. Just mother and son. Lucas wore a small navy blazer and tried to sit up straight, copying the posture he had seen at corporate dinners. He asked about the silverware, the meaning of reserve, and why everyone looked so serious. Because they're trying to impress each other, Isabella said gently. And are we? Lucas asked. She smiled faintly. No. We're just eating. Across the room, at a much smaller table near the back, sat Daniel Reyes and his 8-year-old daughter, Sophia. Daniel had spent the last 6 months rebuilding his life. After his wife passed away from cancer, hospital bills swallowed his savings. He sold their house. Moved into a small apartment. Picked up 2 jobs, construction during the day, delivery driving at night. That evening was special. Sophia had earned first place in her school science fair. Her prize. A small certificate and a plastic trophy. Her wish. Can we eat somewhere fancy, just once? Daniel hesitated when he saw the prices on the menu earlier that week. But he also remembered how his late wife used to say, memories matter more than money. So he brought Sophia. He ordered 1 entree. Extra plate. Asked politely for water. When the food arrived, he carefully divided it evenly. Sophia didn't complain. She beamed. This is the best day ever, she whispered. From across the room, Isabella noticed. At first, she barely glanced over. But then she saw the way Daniel pushed the larger portion toward his daughter when he thought she wasn't looking. She saw him pretend to sip water while Sophia ate. She saw pride in his eyes. And something tightened in her chest. Lucas noticed too. Mom, he whispered, why does that girl only have half? Isabella paused. She doesn't, she replied softly. She has a whole father. Lucas frowned slightly, not fully understanding. Then something unexpected happened. The waiter approached Daniel's table discreetly and spoke in a low voice. Daniel's shoulders stiffened. The restaurant required a minimum order for certain seating areas during peak hours. His single entree didn't meet it. He apologized quietly. I didn't realize, he said, embarrassed. Guests nearby glanced over. Whispers started. Sophia's smile faded. Isabella stood up. The room stilled as Isabella walked across polished marble floors. Daniel noticed her approaching and instinctively straightened, unsure what to expect. She turned to the waiter calmly. Add anything they order to my bill, she said. Daniel immediately shook his head. That's not necessary, he said quickly. We're fine. Isabella looked at him, not with pity, but with recognition. I know you are, she replied gently. But tonight, let my son learn something important. She turned to Lucas. What do you think we should do? Lucas looked at Sophia's trophy. What did you win? He asked her. First place, Sophia said shyly. For what? A project about solar energy. Lucas's eyes widened. That's cool. He looked back at his mother. "Can we sit with them?" Gasps rippled softly around the room. Executives at nearby tables exchanged looks of disbelief. Isabella smiled. Of course. They combined tables. Daniel hesitated but eventually allowed it. Conversation began slowly. Awkward at first, then warmer. Lucas asked Sophia about her project. Sophia asked Lucas what his mom did. "She builds companies," Lucas said proudly. Daniel's eyes flickered with curiosity. Isabella noticed his worn hands, hands that carried weight. "What do you do?" she asked him kindly. "Construction," he answered. "Whatever keeps the lights on." No shame. Just truth. As dessert arrived, ordered freely now, Isabella listened to Daniel speak about Sophia's dreams of becoming an engineer. "She gets that from her mom," he said softly. There was grief in his voice. And strength. Isabella felt something shift inside her. She had spent years teaching Lucas about markets, investments, leadership. But she hadn't shown him resilience up close. She hadn't shown him quiet sacrifice. As the evening wound down, Isabella did something no one expected. She didn't just pay the bill. She handed Daniel a simple card. "It's not charity," she said before he could refuse. "It's opportunity." The card wasn't money. It was a direct contact for a scholarship foundation Isabella quietly funded, one designed specifically for children pursuing science and engineering. No publicity. No announcement. "Have her apply," Isabella said softly. "And if she qualifies, she earns it." Daniel looked stunned. "You don't even know us," he said. Isabella nodded slowly. "I know enough." Before leaving, Lucas tugged on Daniel's sleeve. "My mom says success isn't about how much you have," he said seriously. "It's about what you do when you see someone who needs help." Daniel swallowed hard. "Your mom's right." Weeks later, Sophia's application was accepted. Her project impressed the foundation panel. Full educational support. Mentorship. Future secured. Months after that, Isabella received a handwritten letter. Not from Daniel. From Sophia. "Thank you for seeing us," it read. "But mostly thank you for letting your son sit with us. That made me feel important." Isabella folded the letter carefully. That night at dinner, she hadn't just helped a stranger. She had answered her own son's unspoken question. What does it mean to be wealthy? It means recognizing value beyond money. It means seeing dignity where others see difference. It means understanding that sometimes the most unbelievable thing you can do is simply sit down at someone else's table. Strong message at the end. True wealth is not measured by what you spend, but by what you're willing to share. The most powerful legacy you can leave your child isn't inheritance. It's example. Because when kindness replaces pride, even strangers become part of your story. And sometimes, the smallest act in a crowded room changes two families forever.